there's an internal control issue to do with weaknesses of information technology, internal control environment.
That's not really accounting issue. That's a very separate issue. What about the failure to deduct income tax from sitting allowance?
Chair, that's accounting. That's an accounting issue, and we had included it for discussion.
Okay. So I think honorable members, we discussed in our pre-meeting on these issues, and we said that we will start with those ones. But Auditor, you needed to indicate to the committee that on those issues, was there any loss of funds? Starting with the first issue, presentation and disclosure of financial statements.
Chair, on all of these issues, there were no loss of funds. We didn't see any.
Okay, so I think we can start from that. Maybe you can check for us on the financial statements that were submitted to you, which accountant signed them.
Chair, the fund accountant is by the name Kevin Kipkoech, is back member number 23469.
Is Kevin here? Oh, he's outside. Okay, let him come. Meanwhile, you can check the status.
Chair, maybe as we wait for Kevin, with your indulgence,
Yes.
I think wait, you need to be honest before this committee. I have taken the trouble, Chair, to request for the email management responses from the client, and I've read responses that are here. There is a huge difference clarity, because in the email address that was sent to the committee, the management responses and what is before the members are totally different, Chair. So I don't know, we are flying blind or what is happening with OAG, because what the client did is that they just changed the headline, because the headline says this one that we have stamped 1st July, and you have been with us for the longest time. But when you look at the soft copy, for example, Chair, as he comes in, when you look at management responses, that is here, it says the error arose during the final compilation and printing of financial statements. That is 1.0 of the financial. The omission is highly regrettable and will not occur again. The financial statements here attached. But on the soft response that the client submitted, the management response says, management acknowledges the audit observation that the financial statements submitted for audit were not page numbered in accordance with the requirements of public sector accounting boards. The error was inadvertent and arose during the final compilation and printing of the financial statement. Management regrets the oversights and take full responsibility. Revised report attached in Appendix 1. To address the issue, the management has taken the following corrective measures. This is in the document that was submitted to the committee via email, but when you come here, it has been omitted, maybe, in my own opinion, to mislead the committee. So the client should take up, either he owns what he sent to the Senate, which was within the timeline, or he owns what he has presented today. Because in my own opinion, the committee will not take the correct picture. And that is why I'm taking to task the OAG. Which among these reports did you see? Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Chair. As I indicated that I got a soft copy, which I have not checked because this is the first one, and in our pre-engagements, I clearly outlined that we'll discuss what we got earlier, and what I have is the very first one, the hard copy, which we are going to discuss, which says that the error was inadvertent and arose during the final compilation and printing of the financial statements. So that's the one I have, Chair. The soft copy,
yes.
I have it, but I've not gone through it because I got it after this one. So we are using the
Chair,
first one.
it means the soft copy was submitted within timeline, but this copy has been submitted today with an intention to mislead the committee by the client. It is as simple by that. Because what we have here is not what was submitted to the committee via email. So OAG and through the chair, which management responses are we considering? Is it the soft copy or the hard copy? And if this hard copy, this is the one you want us to rely, or the one that was taken to the Senate within the timeline that has been provided by the standing orders?
Chair, thank you, Chair. I'm not aware of which one was really sent to the Senate, to the committee, but what I have is the one Honorable Senator has just discussed about, the one which is talking about an error. So the soft copy, I got it, I think yesterday, so I've not checked it. So I'm checking on the Harrier one, which we have here. But the Chair, initially I was trying that in case management have any additional information to make, probably based on the soft copy they did, I request that you just allow them at least the paper and we get to hear the facts whether we can pick. Thank you.
Chair, to be fair to OAG, you know you are the prosecutor. So you cannot choose and pick what will be taken to the committee. Because, Chair, if you look at the soft copy, and I hope your secretariat has shown you, there is so much information that has been added in the soft copy outside the original copy that has been presented today. So, Chair, I needed guidance. Do we consider, or the client can tell us, we consider the written hard copy that is before us or the soft copy, so that when we are progressing, we know which leg to stand on. And I need your ruling, because, Chair, I can imagine other entities will appear before you. They'll send you soft copy, then the day of appearance they come with hard copy, which is materially different from what is before the committee. That is the ruling I really need you, Chair, so that we can make progress. I thank you.
Thank you, Chair. Maybe Auditor, at the beginning of the meeting, the Chair asked you whether you are ready for us to.
Yes, Chair, on the basis of what I have and what I verified and what we have discussed on the issues cleared and not cleared, Chair, I'm ready to proceed with this engagement.
But you've just said that there are some ready when we'll be interrogating issues which you've not led.
And that's why I really want to reemphasize that they can still give their information on the latest documents they have. So I'm ready to proceed, Chair.
No, Chair, in the indulgence, it's not about proceeding or not. It's about the procedure. You know, in the Raila Odinga case in 2017, a national election, it's not a laughing matter, OAG, a national election was nullified based on procedure. So procedure is not something you joke with. The point I'm trying to make, for example, Chair, in the response of the governor on the issue of soft copy, it talks about designate a compliance officer. So, AG, are you aware of this compliance officer? You are not, because you have not gone through the responses. So, Chair, I think what the OAG should be advising us is we stand down one of the responses, either the soft copy, but my worry, if we stand down the soft copy, it means the client submitted the responses outside the timeline. And that one, will force us into flying blind.
Let me hear from the liaison officer from auditors.
Thank you, Chair. The auditor received a response on the 1st of July, and that's the response which was used to verify or to prepare the report for the committee. Subsequently, there's another report which has come, which the auditor has not had a chance to look at. So that's the position, Chair.
That is now clear.
So, Governor?
Honorable Chair, the documents are generally the same. What we have in the hard copy is fairly kind of a summary of the very long responses in the email that we forwarded. So basically, the documents that have been circulated that are before you on your table and the one that the auditor has and indicated that he is ready to proceed is exactly the same document that that we have circulated. But even that response raised by my senator, if you look at it, we were just trying to be, concise. But the information, there is no material difference in terms of that information. So we really, it's exactly the same document. There could be, we were trying to be concise in a number of appearances before Senate. Having a response that is 1 page for a document, if you can be able to make it concise into 2 paragraphs, it saves, the committee. So basically, it's the same document. We just summarized it. And I think, as indicated by the auditor, and it is the document that is before all of us, the hard copies. So really, there is no material difference between the document that we presented on email and the one that is before us.
Chair, I disagree totally with the governor. He's just being smart. To address the issue, Governor, in your soft copy through the chair, you have added 3 issues: revise and resubmitted, designate a compliance officer, enhance internal control procedures. So you cannot, in your response in the hard copy, it is just one statement. So you cannot say there is no material differences. Yet in your soft copy, what Governor should be telling us is if he is willing to stand down one of the responses and wait for the consequences. Because if he stands down the soft copy response, it means he has submitted outside the timeline. If he stands down the hard copy, it means the committee will fly blind because they will not have anything in reference or looking at the soft copy. So, Governor, you cannot mislead, but these are material. The fact that you have given one statement and then go to give us following corrective measures, which means all these members are not seeing because they are not using soft copy, they are using hard copy. So these corrective measures are not here. So it means it's material difference and it will affect the committee report writing before the House Chair. So I think, Chair, you need to make a ruling whether we stand down soft copy or hard copy and the entity to wait for consequences. Because if you choose to proceed with all these material differences, then the outcome will come out will not be fair to everybody. Because the fact that the governor is here to present, and I agree with you, AG, the governor will be given a chance to explain and clarify a few issues and there. That is not the point. We are not contesting on that. The issue is the timeline and materiality and the procedure before the committee. So, Chair, can the governor tell us whether he's willing to stand down either of the responses or he's willing to go together? And if he goes together, it will mean the OAG liaison will be flying blind because you'll have the hard copy, but your colleague has said he has not seen the soft copy. So it will be hard to proceed because we'll be referring to the soft copy or the hard copy. Thank you, Chair.
I have consulted the clerk here, and the responses that were sent on email and the ones that we have now, the ones which were sent by email earlier on are more detailed. For example, when you look at the first issue, they have elaborated in detail what the omissions were in the financial statement. But this one, they have summarized the responses. Now, therefore, it means legally the responses that we have before us are the emailed responses. Unfortunately, we cannot be able to look at the email responses now because it now forces every member to now be on their phones or bring their laptops here to go through the responses. Now, the other funds which are before us, emergency, climate change, car and mortgage, the clerk tells me the responses are not materially different from what they received earlier. So it is my considered way forward that we will stand down the education fund, but proceed with the other funds. There are other funds which are in Nandi County, which we did not invite them to come before us. I think at that point we will combine those funds with the education funds, when we hope that the inconsistencies in the responses will not be there. So just to avoid a lot of issues, we will stand down the education fund, but proceed with the other funds.
Chair, while I agree with the procedure that this issue, because this issue of education fund is very critical. The issue of bursary is very critical. The issue of even list of beneficiaries that were awarded bursary, it's a serious issue. So I agree that we stand down then it, but Chair, so that it becomes lesson to others. The governor must apologize to the committee for an intent to mislead this committee. Because if the committee was not keen, and I think there is a perception by these entities to assume that senators are too busy not to notice the inconsistency. So as a lesson to the others, he must apologize and step down his documentation for an intention to misrepresent facts, to mislead the committee with an intention of an outcome that he himself knows. So, Chair, so that this committee moves in a neat manner, and I agree that this education fund, we reschedule until the inconsistencies are correct. The governor should apologize and withdraw his documentation so that we can proceed with others as per the tradition of parliament.
Okay, before the governor says something, I think the principal person who prepared these responses is one Alfred Lagat, who is the CEC for Finance and Planning. I would like you to explain to this committee about these inconsistencies and take note that the committee takes seriously the issues of responses. That's why at the beginning, we always ask the auditors whether, and the clerk, whether the responses are in the right format and substance, and that they have been processed within the required timelines. So can you explain this anomaly?
Thank you, Chair, and the committee. As the governor said, is that the document before us is really a summarized version of what we had submitted. The truth is, a lot of work went into preparing the one that we forwarded to the Senate, and upon review, we thought that since it's for the record and this will be in the record of Senate, let's have a summarized version that will really save the committee time, because when you look at what we submitted, if the governor is to read everything, most of those things are our administrative actions. So we thought, since it's also going to be used by ourselves at the county, let's give the summarized copy before the committee. But we also ensure that the Senate has this document that really we have step-by-step actions that we intend to take at the county to sort the issues that are before us. So it is a product of us being very serious about the queries and giving much details. And in our wisdom and in consultation with the OIG, we thought that really the documents being one and the same, most of the issues that are in the detailed document would arise in our discussions and would form part of the comments that the governor would make, and also some of the verbal responses that I would also make myself. But in principle, really, we don't have materially different documents. It's a summary of the former. Thank you, Chair.
You know, As a procedure in this committee, and like that you have appeared before us severally, we encourage as much information as possible to be documented for our record purpose. In as much as we have the Hansard, where what you say is also very important, but the responses are going to be read verbatim before we even ask a question. So if we have a detailed response, that is even good for us. It's even good for us so that we reduce the number of questions we are going to ask you. But if you summarize it, then you even make the meeting longer because the questions will be many, they'll be back and forth. So I think what you had done earlier in your initial document, that is what you should just have sent. Because some of us have already read what you sent on email and you were prepared based on what you had sent on email. And then now when we come to the meeting, we see a different document. You know, it causes confusion. So yes, you were thinking about summarizing, but us, we want more details. And that is the procedure, that whatever is submitted to us must be the same as what has been submitted to the auditor. Because the auditor is going to advise the committee based on the responses. So if the responses to the auditor are different from the responses to the committee, or the responses to the clerk, who is supposed to advise the members, is different from the responses that have been tabled, then it becomes a problem. So I think that one...
The last one,
yes.
I don't know, OAG, don't you find it weird that the client, you advise them to summarize? Because that is the response of CPA. Because he says you advise. And let me ask you a very simple question. In your audit report last one, you have indicated that you didn't see list of beneficiaries. So you are telling them to summarize. So if you wanted, there were list of beneficiaries of 1,000, and they gave you 200 and tell you this assembling because they want to do a conspectus of the entire process. What will be your opinion? Because you need to deny what the client is saying, because he's saying on the advice of the OAG, we did a summary. Yet, the Chair, and I don't know, Chair, on a lighter note, I don't know whether there has been a ruling on this committee or any other committee that you have advised client that you have a very limited time. That is why they need to summarize any documentation. I'm not aware. Maybe the client should advise us. Maybe they have been appearing in a different... So I needed the OAG to tell us why would he advise the client to summarize, or is just misleading the committee. Thank you, through the indulgence of the Chair.
Chair, yes. I think it is only fair that the Senator also accurately quotes. The client, we have not said that the auditor advised us to summarize. We have given the explanation. That is not...
Through the Chair, your CEC has said we can bring the answer. You know the goodness, Chair, he has in fact said.
Okay, unless you want to withdraw, let us listen to the governor.
No, Chair, but the governor should guide these officers very well, because the CPA has said he summarized in his own thinking based on the advice and the time of the committee. Unless we can bring the answer, Governor, so that you can go through and see what the CPA has just said.
Okay, Senator for Nandi, just hold on. Let the governor make his explanation, and so that we can make further direction and proceed.
Chair, I think for us, as indicated by my CEC and also as I had indicated, there is in our assessment, there is no difference, material difference on the two documents. But we appreciate what you have said in terms of the guidance that, you know, the details.
Chair. Point of order. Just your indulgence. The Chair has ruled that there is inconsistency in the issue of response to education fund. Then the governor is insisting that there is no material difference. So is it the opinion of the governor that we proceed? Because he is challenging your ruling, because you have said and we have agreed there is inconsistency. But he is still insisting there is no inconsistency.
In fact, Chair, we are all in, I mean, as a client before you, we are in agreement with your ruling. In fact, if and we all agreed on your ruling, we would have just stepped down that document and proceeded to the next one. It's the senator who is contesting. We have just given our explanation, and we have said that we note the position taken by, if we were to print and provide that the responses as per our email, you would then notice that there is very little difference. But we agree with your ruling, and we are ready to proceed as you have guided, and that guidance in terms of remaining and giving as much details as possible is well taken, Chair. But really, we just want to leave it at that because you've guided.
Senator Mutembei.
Chair, I'm sorry, I had stepped out, but I remember when we were having the pre-meeting in the morning, the Auditor General's office said that he was served with the document. Was it this morning or yesterday? The document you said you were served with, is it yesterday?
Chair, I got, actually what I'm running is, what I have is the detailed response. What I got yesterday was the summarized response. Yeah,
So
I have the detailed.
So as I conclude, what I was saying is, he got the documents on the 16th, and he has a document of 16th, and we agreed we go on the document of 16th and not the document that you received yesterday, and not this document that we have received this morning.
Okay, very well.
That's what we agreed.
While you are away, the chair made a ruling on that matter. Yeah, the chair has made a ruling that we are going to step down the education fund responses because the clerk has confirmed that there is a material difference. But the other funds will proceed as they are. And then the education fund, because there are other funds which are not before us, we will combine them with those other funds at a later date. So let us make progress. So I think we will start with the emergency fund, which is in the below 5. Auditor, proceed.
Thank you, Chair. Report of the Auditor General on Nandi County Emergency Fund for the year ended 30th June 2024. It has a qualified opinion. And Chair, there are 3 issues raised on this report. One, the first one is to do with accuracy, presentation, and disclosure of the financial statements. Chair, as discussed, maybe you guide again whether the accountant is to comment on this.
Yeah, so you can check for us who the accountant was.
Chairman, the fund accountant was Brian Birgen. His pack member number 26686.
Is Brian here? Is Brian here?
Chair, the fund manager is here, not the accountant. So the fund manager is here.
So we are concerned about the accountants because in all the funds report, it appears that this problem is repeating itself. So that's why we are very keen to know who the accountants were. Every fund has this issue of accuracy, presentation, and disclosure.
And also, is the same Brian that was an accountant in the previous, you remember when you asked the accountant in the previous fund of education, is he here? Because it looks like when accountants are staying outside more than inside. Is he here? Because there was also an accountant in the previous where you asked, he was told he had stepped out. So I don't
think it's different.
It's different. What was the name of the, through the chair, what was the name of the previous accountant?
What was the name?
Kevin Koech or
Kevin
somebody?
Koech, yeah.
Okay. So this one is Brian Briggen. Okay.
But even if the accountant is not here, just check the status. The CEC Finance is the administrator of emergency fund.
But Chair, on your indulgence, sorry
Yes.
for interrupting, but when introduction was done, this guy was here. Does it mean anybody can walk out before the meeting ends? Because I can recall my the introduction. They were here.
Was he, did I hear Brian? Clark.
Yes. I thought they were Kevin Koech and another accountant, Brian Birgen, and of course the governor and the rest of the team.
But Chair, what should be checked is just if they are in good books with the ISPAC, if they are in good records with ISPAC.
That's what he's checking. I think
The reason, Chair, we don't due respect. This is the committee of the Senate.
yes.
So anybody who wants to exclude himself or herself, they must seek the permission of the chair of the committee. It is not the other way. So if we allow people to be walking out of your meetings, then it is a bad precedent. Because when somebody doesn't want to answer, they'll just walk out, and before you know it, you don't have anybody in the room.
He wasn't in.
He wasn't in.
Yeah.
So
What about Kevin Koech? He was not in. Okay.
So
We'll check the
I
answer.
think then what is the status of the? We have a problem with the website for verifying that. But all the same, let me take it to the CEC Finance through the governor. The regulations of the law allow that you are the administrator of the emergency fund. So can you explain this anomaly of inaccuracy as highlighted by the Auditor General? Yeah, now Brian, his membership is active, but is not in good standing. Proceed, you can also respond to that issue of not being in good standing.
Oh, thank you, Chair. On the aspect of not in good standing, I know usually the regulations by ISPAC require that a member meets certain minimum hours called CPD hours. Possibly Brian may be behind in his schedule, but as a government, we always ensure that by end of the financial year, all accountants have attended at least, and we paid for them, have attended at least a minimum of 40 hours that are required for professional development. And we've done this consistently, Chair. So if he's lagging behind, it's one of the items that we'll be going forward to regularize. Thank you. Chair, you asked on query number 1.
Query number 1, the issue of inaccuracies, presentation issues, and disclosures. For example, there are 2 issues the auditor has raised. He has raised about the emergency expenses of 24 million, which did not have analysis of emergency expenditure, and also the issue of aspect number 2, payment of about 1,773 instead of 25 million, leading to that variance of 24.9 million. So you can explain all that.
Thank you, Chair. On part 1, it talks about failure to make a breakdown or an analysis of the 24 million. And the response, Chair, was that under note 9 in our revised financial statements, that is page 18 of the financial statements, an annex has been done and that analysis has been captured properly. Of course, Chair, we understand that funds report under accrual basis, so in the subsequent periods we've really endeavor to ensure that our team is well capacitated to do proper disclosures and detailed disclosures in line with what you've even said, so that we give as much information as possible. On the same number 2, Chair, this error arose, the 1,773 is an error that arose when the accountant was preparing financial statements in Excel, and then they do the transfer of the same to Word document. In the process, transferring, it led to an omission, and therefore the arithmetics on the Word document didn't add up. So really, this is an error that going forward, keenness must be observed by the accountants. But this has since been captured properly, and we really want to confirm that preparation of accounts on Excel, going forward, we don't need to transfer to Word. It can just be converted to Word from Excel without transferring number by number, which leads to some of these petty errors. Thank you, Chair.
Maybe you need to tell this committee, be honest to this committee, because we know what usually happens in some of these financial statements. That the financial statements are probably done by someone else who is not the one who signs the financial statement. It's maybe done by someone, junior accountant, and qualified junior accountant. And then the qualified one just comes in to sign. Could that be a similar case to this? We have seen that with other counties.
Well,
because surely a member of ISIPAC who has been trained on public sector accounting standards board regulations will not make such mistakes. So they can only occur if that person is not qualified.
Thank you, Chair. Yeah, indeed, under the financial reporting unit, we have accountants who are qualified and they have different roles. The junior accountants are the ones who really generate the data, and finally, the process that is given to the senior accountant to prepare. I have both the fund administrator here and the fund accountant who are directly involved, and they can confirm, Chair. But truth is, with proper reviews, Chair, by the senior accountant, these errors shouldn't have occurred, and our FRE unit is undergoing a bit of restructuring to really ensure that we don't appear here with some small errors like this one. Thank you.
Yeah, so Senator Bogwa.
Thank you, Chair. Maybe to the auditor, if we were to take it that these were errors, in your exit meeting, did you have a chance to engage them? Because I believe you would have sorted it there, instead of it coming all the way here if it is an error as it put it.
Thank you, Chair. We had several engagements in the exit meeting, and we did the management rep, and then we did the draft report before finalizing with the Auditor General's certificates on the same. Thank you.
I think you have answered.
Thank you. Thank you, Chair. I'm just wondering, I think it is indicated that as he's giving explanation that the error occurred when they were transferring, isn't there a standard criteria given for such feedback?
There is a template that is prepared by the
So did they use that template? That's my question.
Yeah. So, Auditor, and you have not answered Mbogwa properly.
Chair, we raised these issues in the first. We do what we call audit issues. We raised the issue, and then we did the management letter in which the issue came out, and then we did the draft audit report. And at times, Chair, other issues come on review, because after audit, the exercise review is done at various levels, so other issues can come up, but again, management is usually given an opportunity to respond. So that's why this issue is here, because the responses were not adequate.
So according to you, it was not an error?
Okay, thank you, Chair. According to audit, We normally assume everything is not an error unless management proves otherwise.
Answer my question about the tablet.
Thank you, Chair. Maybe I need to get Honorable Senator's question again, once again.
I asked, isn't there a standard way of reporting? There is a given tablet. Did they use it? Because the way he was explaining, the error occurred when they were transferring.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. We have the National Treasury has issued accounting templates through the Public Sector Accounting Standards Board guidelines. So it's like they didn't adopt the templates fully. That's where this kind of errors end up cropping up.
Then kindly respond why you did not use the given template.
And Chair, before he responds to that through you, so that he can respond together, it's that don't you check the work after the accountants have done as the CCM Finance?
Thank you, Chair. Yeah, I wish to confirm that what the template that is given to us by the Public Sector Accounting Standards Board is an Excel template. That is the same template that we use. The occurrence of this error, Chair, is in an attempt to present neater versions of this document. We usually prefer to take them to Word. Now, when you're taking to Word, you're keying figures to the Word document, but you're transferring the same figures that are really on Excel. Now, when you finish keying into the Word document, you should do manual calculation, what we call casting. You add up so that you ensure that no figures been omitted. But if you really look at the original Excel template, it is there and it balances. But the truth or what I agree is the levels of reviews, which I'd said might not have worked effectively, and under our finance reporting unit, we are actually putting in place systems to ensure that first, we adopt even the right template, because these templates keep being revised often. Secondly, second level and a third level review before these go to the auditors. And it's an attempt, it's our internal improvements that we really are making to ensure that these errors don't occur again. Thank you.
Chair, I wanted to find out, is your system computerized? Do you have a computerized system in Nandi County? Because what I expected from even these the accounts that you're talking about, that they were in Excel and you imported to Word. I believe there must be an import from Excel to Word, so that those rekeying in should not be there. I just wanted to find out if you have an IT system, because if you have any, then basically you should be able to generate some of these reports directly from the system, because you can the IT fellow should be able to set that template and format it for you in the system, so that you don't have to encounter these errors.
Thank you, Chair. We use Excel templates to prepare our accounts. Reason being, initially, the IFMI system was that there are certain modules that were to be operationalized to be an integrated reporting tool, which then means that we would be able to print out accounts from the IFMIS. But since IFMIS doesn't really, all the transactions for counties are not captured on IFMIS, we are still forced to resort to Excel. And we had hoped, the guidance we had received was that possibly there'll be a universal system given by National Treasury, so that we would get there. But for now, we still use Excel. Thank you.
Chair, through the Chair, OAG, you say during these responses, you never met the client. Is that the true position?
Thank you, Chair. We, as I said, we have levels of review. So our officers, they met the clients. And so
during these particular responses on the funds.
These particular responses, yeah, because
you met
our officers met them.
But you are on record saying you did meet.
Now at the personal level, because I am the one doing the final presentation, I didn't have an opportunity
So
to
I
meet them.
think in future you'd just say your office, don't say I, so that you don't mislead the committee. Liaison, how long has been this financial reporting template been in place?
Chair, the financial reporting templates are reviewed from year to year by the Public Sector Accounting Standards and published in their website.
So the client was aware of this?
They must have been aware, Chair, because they are publicized for all accounting officers to adhere. Thank you, Chair.
Governor, because all questions are answered through you because you are the one who took on oath, could it be the reason, Chair, that Brian Brigham is not in good standing with the ISPAC? Because looking at this is a basic accounting issue. So if they are committing an error in terms of template reporting, I have heard Senator Kisang ask about IT, and I'm happy he's here because he has made what the CC responded to look like a child's play. Because it's not even in place. I was wondering where that explanation came from. So my question is, could this Brian Brigham, fund administrator and CCM, you don't have the capacity to do these things? Because the non-compliance of template is a very simple issue, Chair, that should not even be escalated to the Senate. Number one. Number two, Governor, I have seen in note number 9, page 18 of your financials, and Chair, I think the OAG and members will agree with me. If there is a problem with financial statements, it will bring a problems in terms of audit itself. Because if you use the wrong template, it will always affect the outcome. So my question to you, Governor, I put it to you is note number 9 on emergency expenses. I have seen this 24.998 million. This specialized supplies of 15.2 million. Can you give us the... And then, Chair, there is repair and maintenance of MV. I don't know what it means by MV. Maybe you can go on record. Can you give us a schedule of the purchase of specialized supplies of 15,247,344 in this financial year of 2023-2024? That is my second question. And finally to the governor, on this issue through the chair. On this issue, is the fund administrator here, and how many people manage this fund? Because I have seen, Chair, there is what we call general office expenses. I don't know, does it mean sitting allowances of 2,205,000 and 200 in that financial year? So who is the fund administrator? And in terms of these general office expenses, does it mean is there rent here? Does it mean, because if you talk about printing and stationery, is already there, it's 150,613. So when you mean general office expenses, does it mean sitting allowances in terms of this? But Chair, I really want to get the schedule of the 15.2 million. I thank you, Chair. Those will be my two questions on that query number 1. Thank you, Chair.
And proceed.
Thank you, Chair. On the question on the note 9 that Senator Cherargei has asked about emergency expenses here, these are items during audit schedules are always provided to the auditor. Most of these, the components are in the schedules that would have to provide if we are asked to provide. It is available for this committee to review, Chair, and therefore each of the items, I mean, I could just mention a few, but I know there's a comprehensive list. It involves, under the specialized supplies, we had emergency bridges, we had lightning arresters, really in response to the emergencies, the specific emergencies we had in Nandi. But the comprehensive list showing the 15 million can be availed, Chair. On the question about who manages the fund, Chair, usually there is a committee, and that is captured on Roman 8, Roman 7 and 8, which really shows the Fund Administration Committee as provided for in the Act. So it's usually the CCM in charge of finance who is like the chair, and then there is the first few pages of the financial statement, the fund financial statements, like the third or fourth pages. So the profiles of the members are captured. We have the CC member in charge of finance. We have the CEO in charge of health, which, and then we have the fund administrator, then the fund accountant. But ordinarily, of course, based on the emergencies that arise, various departments are always involved in terms of making decisions on issues of emergency fund, because it is based on what emergency comes in. Thank you, Chair.
That's the schedule of specialized supplies.
You said that the committee gives him time to give the list of the 15.2 million, including emergency bridges and the lighting arresters and the rest. But on the note 9 of page 18 on their financial statements, the general office expenses 2.2 million. So I wanted to know whether it is sitting allowances for the committee. That's 2.2. That is on note 9. Page 18 on their financial statements.
Yeah, Chair. On the same, we also still need to just pull the ledgers which are available, the same ledgers that really were provided to the auditor to just confirm the items. I may not offhand know the line items, but it's available for verification.
So how much time do you need to provide that?
Yeah, I believe within a week I should be able to provide.
Okay, so you can provide those schedules, the general office expense schedule and the specialized supplies schedule to the committee in 7 days.
Guided, Chair, thank you.
So I just want to emphasize that we, as a committee, we have made a deliberate decision that matters of errors in accounts or omissions, moving forward, we are not going to take them lightly. We will go for the people who prepare these financial statements, and those are the accountants. So, in fact, we have said that this committee may even be compelled to communicate with your professional body, ISPAC, if there is a trend of these errors and omission in your financial statements. So when you go back, you need to reorganize your team so that such kind of audit queries should not appear. And we know the reason. The reason is what you have alluded to, that sometimes those who prepare this financial statement are not qualified accountants, but qualified accountants only come in to sign. But you see now, even the procedure is that if you are an accountant, you should not put a signature to financial statements which you have not prepared or which you have not understood, because you will be personally liable for the accuracy of those financial statements. So that one, we, as a committee, we are taking that very seriously. Because in some cases, in this case, the auditor reported that there was no loss of funds. But we know in other cases, other counties, there are hidden issues in those omissions and in those errors. So please just note that and go back and reorganize your team. If there are issues to do with the training, they should be trained on the public sector accounting standards, board template and standards, so that we don't have these things appearing.
Yeah, what I think if the House, your committee recommended that we do professional misconduct, where if a member of accounts, and I think EACC, we have agreed in principle, apart from charging them, that they must be cited for professional misconduct. If you are an accountant, if you are a lawyer or an engineer. So I think I agree with you. But Chair, I have a problem. I think we had discussed about loss of funds. I thought it should be a misappropriation of funds, because if, for example, you buy something that is not needed, it might not be the loss of funds, but that item is not needed. It should be misappropriation of funds, because if today I buy, for example, solar in Nandi, and Nandi is ready, they could not be loss of funds, but there is misappropriation of funds instead of doing a breach. So I think we should have a discussion, because the OAG normally wants to use the word misappropriation as opposed to loss of funds. I think that should be clear. Thank you, Chair.
Okay. So, honorable members, I think unless any member has an issue, we can proceed to the next query, which is, okay, but before we do that, Auditor, how do we rectify this issue? Because I have not seen, have you done journal entries to rectify these problems?
Yes, Chair, and the same will have an effect on the subsequent financial year reporting.
Yeah,
so it's a prior year adjustment, and usually we consult our auditors and they guide us on how some of these errors are to be rectified.
So this will now be rectified in 2024-2025 financial statements.
Yes, Chair.
So, Auditor, you keep a watch on that.
Thank you, Chair.
Yeah. Okay, so the next query is, members, we agreed to skip query number 2, delayed transfer from the county government of Nandi, and tackle funding the county emergency fund. Auditor, please.
Thank you, Chair. Funding to the county emergency fund. The statement of receipts and payments for Nandi County Executive reflects receipts in respect of transfers from County Revenue Fund totaling Kenya shillings 30 million as disclosed in Note 6 to the financial statements, which represents 0.3% of all the county government annual budget amount of Kenya shillings 8,988,667,004. This is contrary to Part 2, Clause 5.2a of the Nandi County Emergency Fund Act 2020, which requires the County Assembly to allocate an amount not less than 0.5% of all of the county government annual budget. The required funding as per the county budget should have been not less than Kenya shillings 44,943,335. In the circumstances, the allocation to the fund was not done in compliance with the law. Thank you, Chair.
Very well. Governor, your written response.
Chair, during the financial year under review, the budgeted amount for Nandi County Emergency Fund was Kenya shillings 46 million as per the annexed budget. A provision of 40 was made in the approved budget of 2023-2024 and an additional 6 million in the supplementary budget too. This then represents 0.5% of the county's total revenue of 9.850666,665. However, the actual amount transferred at the close of the financial year was Kenya shillings 30 million due to the delayed remittances from the National Treasury for that for the outstanding financial the June disbursement.
Okay, Auditor, what is your comment on the response?
Mr. Chairman, the comment is that still the county has not complied with the Nandi County Merchants Fund Act of 2020.
So this is a compliance issue.
Yes, Chair.
But according to the response from the county, that so what was actually transferred was 30 million, but what was budgeted for was totaling to, is it 46 million, which was within the 0.5%. So the issue here is that instead of 46, only 30 was transferred to the fund. 30. So that means a variance here of 16 million. So, Governor, does it mean that, I know there are issues of budgeting, but this law sometimes, the auditor will always look for compliance issues. So, it is a query because it did not comply to the law, your own law actually. Nandi County, it was Nandi County, Nandi County Emergency Fund Act. What does the National Emergency Provision provide? Legal.
Through you, the only provision on PFM is on limitation on power of the County Executive Committee member for finance to make the payments. That is under Section 113, whereby the CCM for finance may not during the financial year make payment from the emergency fund exceeding 2% of the total county revenue, as shown in that county government's audited financial statement for the previous financial year, except for the first year. But in terms of what should be put there, it's left to the counties to decide. That is under Section 110 of the PFM, and when they are establishing their county government emergency funds. The limitation is always on making payments from that emergency fund. That is the limitation that is set by the national law, that is the PFM.
Senator Kisam.
Chair, I wanted to ask two questions, so I raised two issues. Number one is maybe as a result of dispersing 30 instead of 46 million, were there any emergencies in Nandi County that the people suffered by the 16 million not being dispersed? Number two is in the subsequent year, 2024-25, the balance, when you received the exchequer from Treasury, did you remit the balance of 16 million to the fund account?
Yes, Governor.
Chair, we can confirm that there were no emergencies that were not responded to within the county. Of course, there is always, the pressure to fund the fund is also driven by emergencies. So if we had situations where we had serious emergencies that occurred, we definitely then would have been pushed into doing this. But we can confirm that there were no emergencies that required address under this fund that were not. In the subsequent financial year, yes, we did. We did fund, the emergency fund, even with the balance, with that balance that was outstanding.
Any other issue on that? I think this is a matter of compliance, which, they always say the law is a nurse, so the query will keep on coming as long as the law is not complied with. And in fact, even item number 2, that one was delayed remittance to the fund of 5 million. But generally it came to 30 million. So this is a compliance issue. So maybe you can tell the committee, Governor, how you are moving forward, how you are going to address this issue.
Can I also add something before he replies? You know, this is a law that you did yourselves. So it is good that you comply or amend the law so that you say at most. You know, when you say at most, you can give less than what the law says if you say at most. But you see, when you say 0.5%, we expect you to budget and also move the same amount. And it's also not a lot, Governor, for the 6 million. It's not too much to just let it stay there. If there's no emergency, it means just roll over. It means you don't have to. Yeah. Agreed, Chair. That is really the position for us. Really, it's to push towards compliance. Sometimes when you have financial constraints, you face this kind of a situation. But in many situations, 0.5% is doable, and we have always done that.
Okay, I think if there is no any other issue, we will proceed to the next fund, the climate change.
Mr. Chairman, we move to the report of the Auditor General on Nandi County Climate Change Fund for the year ended 30th June 2024. The report on the financial statements, they have a qualified opinion. Mr. Chairman, we had 4 issues on this climate change. Number 1 again was to do with the presentation, accuracy and disclosure in the financial statements, which is quite similar with the one we have just concluded on. And so, Chair, I request that we skip unless the fund account has a different one. With your guidance, Chair.
Is the fund account and according to your records through the Chair?
Chair, the fund accountant is CPA Jennifer Chepet.
So that's a
It's part number 27293.
I think it's different from the earlier one, Chair Brian.
Yeah, Jennifer. Is Jennifer around?
Jennifer is not around, Chair. She's indisposed.
Chair, I have a problem with that answer. Governor, is it strategic that all your fund accountants are absent? And number 2, Chair, as per the tradition, unless it has changed, Chair, can I have your attention?
Yeah.
As per tradition, when you are indisposed, because Parliament under Article 123 deals with evidence-based, it's an evidence-based driven engagement. Could the Governor provide the doctor's report that shows that Jennifer could not attend? Because I have a problem, because the first one, Kevin was not here, Brian was not here, and now Jennifer is not here. And we have noticed, Chair, unless the Governor will allow the committee to write to ISPAC to punish the 3 fellows for professional misconduct, because all these 3 funds have had problems in terms of accounting and in terms of presentation in their reports in financial statements. So is it by design, by default, that coincidentally the 3 of them who are supposed to manage these funds are not? I agree. And then, Chair, you might have to punish the Governor and CCF and the fund administrator, because if the funds accountant are not here, it looks like there is a bigger scheme to cover something. And the problem is that, Chair, all these issues, the auditor agree with the auditor that the same fate will fail, because it is also the terms of presentation, accuracy and disclosure in financial statement as a public sector accounting standards, IPSAS. So the question is, All the three funds, even the first one that we stepped down, had similar issue of accuracy, presentation, and disclosure. And the accountants, unless the governor will tell us that he has hired people who are not qualified to do these jobs, then it becomes a bigger problem. So, Chair, can the governor go on record and unanswered, one, whether he has evidence that Jennifer is sick, then that matter, because it's evidence-based, number one. Number two, the fate of these two. And number three, the professional misconduct. And I agree that it should be punished from the CPA, because he's the one who heads these funds, Chair. I thank you.
Yeah, the system shows that Jennifer is inactive. She's inactive and not in good standing. Yeah, inactive, membership status inactive, status not in good standing. So maybe Brian was active. Yeah, he was not in good standing. So maybe CEC Finance, we can start through the governor. These are your people. This one is inactive, meaning that he's not even a member. He's a member, but who is not complying.
And both of them are not in good standing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you, Chair. Indeed, the issue of being in good standing and with a profession really, as I've always communicated, is their personal responsibility. And the county, we've always ensured that we're able to take them through training. Allow us, Chair, as I'd indicated initially, to really revisit this issue.
Point of order, is it better if the governor answers that question? Because it looks like he has people in office that are not qualified. And if you are not qualified, you are not supposed to be in office. The long and short, if the Chair, I agree, this, you know, if I have not paid my subscription fee with LSK, it means I am not qualified. It means I cannot represent anybody in court. So what we are having are not qualified. So can the governor tell us why he's retaining people who are not qualified in office? If he answers that, then we leave that matter to rest.
The governor is going to make a comment on that, but the person who deals with them on a day-to-day basis is the CEC Finance, so he needs to give us a background, and then the governor will respond to what you are saying.
Thank you, Chair. So yes, as I'd indicated, is that really as a county we've ensured that all the accountants that have finished their CPA are able to be members and also continuously able to support them to be in good standing. Chair, however, it is still okay for an accountant who has not finished his CPA to still be engaged, as long as there is demonstration that they're really furthering their professional qualifications. But for those who finished, in this case, the fund manager here and the fund accountant ought to be in good standing. I request, Chair, through my governor, that once we regroup in Nandi, this aspect becomes something that I take it as a priority to see why, despite these opportunities, the accountants have not been able to take up many trainings that are offered by the Institute. But I know most of these issues largely relate to a few hours that have not been attended to in terms of their professional development. And it's something that we would wish to regularize within this financial year, Chair.
Yes.
I have a problem with that answer. So through the Chair, CCM, you are saying somebody who is unqualified, because the law is very clear. When you apply for something, there are certain requirements. So you are telling us that accountant who is in the process of acquiring or being registered with ISPA can be engaged, if I'm getting you right. And number two, is it the business of you as the head of all these funds to ensure that these accountants are registered? Because you are just, I thought it is not even about hours. Maybe they have not paid annual subscription, or they have not done something, or they have violated their profession. Is it your submission through the Chair that it is your responsibility as the head of these funds, CCM, to ensure that Jennifer Chebet Birgem and Kevin should be.
Thank you, Chair. Yes, and number one is that on the ISPAC portal that you check whether somebody is in good standing or not, it usually gives a reason as to why. So for these members who may not be in good standing, the portal would clearly tell us what the issue is and we could verify. Secondly is to answer Senator Cherargei is that really, generally, professional competence and to be in professionally good standing is usually a personal responsibility first, but then the responsibility for the ability for them to discharge duty should then mean that they come to the table knowing very well that they are competent professionally in good standing, and therefore, depending on what reason that makes them not be in good standing, it might be a very minor issue, maybe even a simple issue of not filing the CPD hours. It's something I wanted to have an analysis.
Point of order on two things. One, through you with the indulgence, Chair, CCM, you are failing the governor. Because if you go and Google in portal and you notice Cherargei is not in good standing through the chair, is not in good standing, I want to know your action. Number two, you have wished away by saying, if it is not in good standing, it's okay. Maybe the chair, and then maybe to AG and the professionals that are here, is it good if somebody who is not in good standing or has been cited for professional misconduct in the ISPAC to prepare some of these financial statements through the chair? Liaison, through the chair.
Thank you, Chair. I think I wish to confirm on behalf of in every professional body, the good standing is to show that this person is up to date and has been appraising themselves with the changes in the profession. So, Chair, when you have a person without that good standing, it means they might have fallen back and may not be up to date with what is changing in the profession. And maybe that explains why we have the current queries that we have in terms of the presentation of financial statements. So that good standing requires that you are up to date with the changing professional standards. Like I indicated earlier, Chair, the Public Sector Accounting Standards Board revises the templates annually, yearly. So it is necessary that you keep updating yourself. We're also changing the accounting system, and I think we are aware that we're now moving to the accrual system of accounting. Those are some of the things that someone in good standing has acquired the knowledge, and you'll always be able to present financial statements that meet the required standards at that particular time. Thank you, Chair. And maybe just to point out that it's when a person is inactive means they have not been paying their subscription, and maybe the county can explain what's the policy. Do they pay subscription for their accountants, and why was this one inactive? Thank you, Chair.
So, Chair, in addition, so that Senator Kavilu can come on board so that I complete. So now we are seeing the consequences of not in good standing. Because now the presentation and accuracy of financial statement is here with us. Chair, as Senator Kavilu comes on board, I would really want to know, because the CCM, you are failing the governor. When you notice these people are not in good standing, what did you do? Did you write to the governor? Did you write to County Public Service Board? Thank you, Chair.
Senator Kavindo.
Yeah, actually, my question was that which Senator Cherargei has just said, because we are kind of grilling the CEC, yet the governor is the CEO of Nandi County. So did he report to the governor that the people who are doing the accounting are not qualified, and what did the governor do about it?
Yes. Thank you, Chair. I would have to check. One is that really, as I said, it's a personal responsibility for somebody to be in good standing, and that's why ISPAC is able to punish an individual if then they commit a wrong, because they're ascribing to the standard set by ISPAC. So, Chair, whereas this didn't come to my attention, and possibly during that time may not have come to the attention of my colleague then, I would suggest that we take corrective action by then me taking the personal responsibility to review all the accountants that we have in the system and be able to communicate their status, and through the governor we should be able to take proper action. Secondly, Chair, is that ordinarily in the county we have numerous accountants. A good number of them have always out of their own initiative, paid up their subscriptions on their own volition. But also, as a government, we've always wanted to facilitate any professional, and we always ensure that they give their details to the finance department, so that we forward one list to ISPAC and ensure that all the subscriptions have been paid up. But it's their individual responsibility to follow up to ensure that if they're not paying on their own, the county is available to settle that outstanding amount. But it's something that I think going forward, Chair, I take it up to we can ensure that the level of compliance is well noted. Thank you.
Yeah, I think you didn't answer Senator Kavindu. Senator Kavindu said, what has he done? So did you do anything, yes or no, to advise the governor that you had professional? And you know, Chair, you know, preparation of financial statements of an entity is a very serious matter and sacrosanct that should be taken. So CCM, when you, and I think, Chair, as we continue, we might have the CCM take an oath, because now he's answering more critical answers through the governor. So what did you do? Did you advise the governor and indicated that so-and-so, Jennifer, Bergen, and Kevin are not up to date, and therefore you needed his advice on how to proceed as the CEO of the county? Because this financial statement can mislead everybody, including the OAG, because of poor preparation and presentation and accuracy of financial statement. Did you do anything, yes or no, through the chair?
Thank you. I think through the chair, indeed, yeah. I undertake to go and take action, Chair.
No, Chair. I am asking a very simple question. Did you do anything? Not future, I'm asking the past. Did you do anything, yes or no, through the chair?
Chair, no. That was my question.
Okay,
and, through you, Chair, I think we should stop it there, and I think we should take up this with the ISPAC. Chair, through you write to the ISPAC through the clerk.
Chair, with your
and for all the clerks who have been doing these mismanagements in the accountants who have been doing mismanagements in the accounts, so that the ISPAC can deal with them directly. Because also the governor.
Chair, with your indulgence, I agree that was a totally different question for Senator. My question is very simple. The CCM is committing to go and write to the governor. So I'm asking, in the past, did you, it is a yes or no answer?
Okay. No. Can we have...
okay, that is, if he said no, it's okay, I take that answer.
Okay, he's going to respond to you, but can we have Senator Mbogwa, and then he responds to all that, and then Governor makes comments, and then we close, we make progress. Can we have...
Mine, Chair, was just what Senator Kavindu was said. The CEC here seems to be throwing the accountants under the bus and telling the committee to do whatever you want with them and washing their hands. So it's...
yeah, so CEC respond, and then Governor, you say something, and then we give direction on that matter. But as you respond, just notice that it is not just one query. The first two queries are all related to mistakes by accountants. Query number 1 on presentation accuracy and disclosure, and query number 2 on intercash book transfer, which was reported as an expenditure. And the amount involved is 11.7 million. The auditor himself, in his observation, says that it is not clear why the fund expensed that amount of money under use of goods and services, and yet it was inter cash book transfer.
Thank you, Chair.
Yes.
To respond just to the issue of the accountants, that really one is that I'm not throwing them under the bus. What I'd said initially is that it is their personal responsibility to ensure they're in good standing. However, it's my responsibility and our collective responsibility to ensure that as they discharge duties, I confirm that they're in good standing. And whereas I didn't take any action then when this came to my, because it hadn't come to my knowledge, my commitment, the Chair, was that we're going to be more strict on this in ensuring that the accountants really take it personally upon themselves to ensure that they're in good standing and they're well updated, so that these errors don't arise. So thank you, Chair. So to briefly answer the questions that you raised, Chair, is that question 2, okay. Intercash book transfer reported as expenditure. So, Chair, do I answer the auditor needs to read first? That's okay, thank you.
We in our pre-meeting, we said we just discuss the two, because they are all accountants issues.
Okay, Chair.
Proceed and respond to it.
Okay, thank you, Chair. So what we respond to the intercash book transfer, of course, the background, Chair, is that, as has been indicated, is that there were there was a commercial bank account at Family Bank, but also another special purpose account at Central Bank. When this FLOCA program was running, there was, we were using the commercial bank account, but at the point when Treasury, the National Treasury, via circular, indicated that all spending or all expenditure through this fund should be done at the special purpose account, this money was wired back. So initially there had been a transfer of this money from the special purpose account to the commercial bank account. But then these monies, after the circular, were taken back. Now, while tabulating, while the accountant was tabulating, the trend or the trail of this figure was not captured well, because a transfer back of 11 million was a balance of several transfers that had been made to the commercial bank account. There were about 3 transfers. There was an opening balance of 2.9 million, but then there was also a transfer of 9.8 million and 11 million to the commercial bank account. Spending happened at that level, but by the time this was brought back, it was only 11 million that was left there. So in splitting the expenditure, an erroneous capture of this.
The Chair, who brought back the money? Is it National Treasury, Commercial Bank, or yourselves?
It's ourselves, Chair. So when we made the transfers, Chair, the error of not capturing properly the expenditure was done, and this is an item that we picked, and this misstatement will actually have a bearing on the 24-25, and it's an item that we will have that to be corrected, Chair. Thank you.
Chair, maybe to OAG, is this a misstatement or misclassification? And were you given that movement from SP account, special purpose account, to KCB commercial bank? Thank you, Chair, so that I can ask further questions.
Chair, this is a misclassification and of course a misstatement, but we took it under misstatements because it was a transfer, and yet they indicated it in the accounts as use of goods and services and as an expenditure, but it was not an expenditure, so it was misstated.
Yeah, well, with this 11.27 million, were you able to track? Did it? It says in the management response that it was returned to special purpose account. Did you see the Treasury advisory circular for the same? Governor, what gave you the input? I've looked at there is no annexures to satisfy this question of this 11.7 million through the chair with the intelligence.
I think we have asked so many questions. Let the governor respond first to those ones.
One, the transfer of the amount from the commercial bank account to the special purpose account is pursuant to a directive by National Treasury that the expenditure was supposed to be done in the special purpose account and not in the commercial, and there is a National Treasury circular dated 29th of March 2023.
Yes, please. Annex, annex, part of Annex 2.
Is it annexed to these documents?
Yes. The last page, advisor, the last annex, Senator, the very last. The last page. Says advisory from Treasury.
The last page is I have a description of budget.
Yes, platform.
But in other members, they don't have it because unless they have it advisory from Treasury. Chair, do you have this copy?
It might have been misfiled, but it's in all the documents.
Maybe you can request to table now. It's true.
I don't seem to be having it myself.
Maybe you can give it to the chair. It's quite a long letter. Give it to the chair.
So, Chair, that was the advisory from Treasury. And if you look at Annex 1, there is a bank statement from Family Bank indicating the transfer from Family Bank to special purpose account and the exact date. And also there is still under Annex 1, there is a statement from the special purpose account, central bank special purpose account, reflecting the same amount on 17th of January, reflecting the same amount, Chair.
I have seen this through the chair next case. So this account that is in, is it KCB or Family Bank?
Family Bank.
So it says the balance that you still have there is 3,459,000. How many commercial bank accounts do you have, Governor? Number one. Number two, through the chair, what is the fate of this 11.7 million Kenya shillings that was returned to SPA, special purpose account? What is the fate? Can we have the schedule of the expenses? And based on Family Bank, this account that you transfer the money, how many commercial banks do you have outside SPA and the CRF accounts and the treasury accounts? Thank you, Chair. Those are my two questions.
For this bank, for this fund, it's only one commercial bank account, the one at Family Bank. and therefore that is the only one that existed for the fund. For the special purpose account, once the money was courtesy of that advisory by the National Treasury, the money went back to the special purpose account, and the money was expended in the special purpose account for the function and the activities that were planned.
I think, Governor, through the chair, you didn't get me. I am not saying on this purpose. I'm talking about the commercial bank accounts you have as an entity, and maybe you have answered part one of my question. On part two, can you provide a schedule of the expenses of 11.7 million Kenya shillings on this special purpose account? Thank you, Chair.
Since we are discussing this, fund, I have indicated that the commercial bank account is only one, and that is for the emergency. This other one, if you're asking for all as an entity, that is a different question which we do not have the answers of it.
So in short, you are saying you don't know the number of commercial bank accounts?
For the whole county?
Yes.
No, that cannot
leave
be
out the facility improvement accounts for hospital, leave out the SPS and the CRF and those that are used by the county treasurer.
Yeah.
Because you have one here. Is this the only one or the others, outside others that I've mentioned?
Yeah, but the number cannot be, I can't give you the number of it.
Chair, maybe you can give them 7 days to provide, outside those that are recognized by the law. Thank you. And on the last part, Chair, where do you have the schedule of these expenses of 11.7 million under the expenses?
Yeah, that can be provided. I mean, it's not part of the audit query now, but we can provide that if ordered to.
Governor, it's not the issue. That is why the Constitution says the Parliament, including this committee, shall consider. The reason you are here is to try and mitigate some of these audit queries. So the fact that it is not part of the audit is to allow you to show the value for money, not only accounting, but the value for money that you have been given. I think that is, and that is why the OAG will say value for money was realized or value of money was not realized. So if Chair, if you can provide that scheduling of that expense of 11.7 million, maybe you can give him a number of days, then before you do your report writing as a committee, you can be able to look at that 11.7 million. Thank you, Chair.
Okay, I think we need to make progress, members. The first issue was the issue of the fund accountant. I think the CEC, you have said that you are going to reorganize your team. As you reorganize your team, make sure that even the placement of that reorganization has to be taken into account, because this is a bigger fund of 265 million. And then you put there an accountant who is not active and who is not in good standing. It is not small accounts like the other one we have looked at, the emergency. This one is much bigger. So I think that reorganization has to look into such aspects as well. Number two, on this issue of the matter of intercash book transfer, which was reported as an expense, I think you can give us the schedule of the 11.7. We can give you another 1 week to do that to us, so that we confirm that figure with the listing of all the expenses under it. But we are going to issue a general circular to all the counties on the issue of accounting errors. So that it's very clear to all the counties which appear before us on the need to ensure that we do not get accounting errors to become audit queries when they should not, and the possible penalties available to us as a committee, including quoting them for misconduct with the ISPAC, so that we will be able to send out as a general circular, not just to Nandi alone, but to all the counties.
Yeah, Chair, I just want to comment on what your statement just now on professional misconduct, and I wish to point to the committee to Accountants Regulations of 2022, Section 8B, which defines what professional misconduct is, and misstatement constitutes a professional misconduct. Thank you, Chair.
Yeah, so you will also help our clerk when drafting that circular to all the counties.
Maybe our legal can read it for the benefit of the governor.
Okay, legal, you can read it.
Okay, it's under the accountant regulations. They are 2022, and regulation 8 is on professional misconduct, whereby it states that further to section 30, subsection 1, paragraph X of the Accountants Act, a member of the institute, that is ISPAC, shall be guilty of professional misconduct if such a member fails to, and the relevant paragraph is B, comply with the institute standards prohibiting falsification of books of account or misstatement. Yes.
Okay. That you will cite it in the letter as well. So let's move to unsupported expenditure. Query on unsupported expenditure, Auditor.
Chairman, unsupported expenditure. The statement of financial performance reflects use of goods and services amount of Kenya shillings 39,083,028 as disclosed in Note 7 to the financial statements. The expenditure includes Kenya shillings 1.8 million, Kenya shillings 499,000, and the Kenya shillings 3,811,130 in respect of supply of seedlings, supply of printer, and landscaping respectively, for which the supporting documents were not provided for audit. Thank you, Chair.
Okay, Governor, your response?
Chair, at the time of the audit, the 3 files were misplaced, but later they were found. Attached in this response are copies of the supporting documents, and that is annexure 3.
Auditor, your comments on the response?
Mr. Chairman, we saw the support documents they had, but Chair, we didn't have budgeted for to the point of payment. However, Chair, the support documents which are here, even if they don't have the full documentation, for now they are very adequate, apart from the procurement aspect. Thank you, Chair.
Chair, maybe as an exit comment to the OAG. So it means that you don't know what you want from the client, because if you are telling us the documentation that is here is fairly sufficient, what do you mean? To the governor, and that is why the choice of wording, your liaison should advise you. The choice of your wording will be you'll be falling on your own sword. Chair, just clarity, because I had an issue of loss of funds and misappropriation. Governor, what was the competence and ability of using 3,239,465 shillings to do landscaping and provision of paving of blocks of climate change office. What was the urgency? You know, there are things that are important but not urgent. There are things that are urgent but not important. What was the competency of these 3.2 million in terms of landscaping and paving of blocks? And that is why I don't agree with the word of loss of funds, but I agree with the word of misappropriation of funds. So in this, number one, to the governor, because I have seen the payment schedule, you have given even the one on the taxation, I have seen the